Hey everyone, Rick here, and welcome back to another combat test for, oh that's right, Battlefields of Mana. So for this one I thought it would be fun to do a combat between the least expensive core unit in the game, which is a unit of Peasant Militia. Look at them running in with their little pitchforks. Oh, I love it. A unit of Peasant Militia, least expensive unit in the game, versus the current most expensive core unit, not including mercenary units that are a whole other thing, of heavy cavalry. Okay, so we're actually going to do something new this time. Instead of just basic, they're already engaged, to trigger a couple of special abilities, we're actually going to move the heavy cavalry into close combat. So in the movement phase, they're going to take a move action. Each unit technically has up to two actions. So one of them is a move, and they could use their second on a second move. But if you move twice in a turn, you can't do anything else. So let's say the heavy cavalry started their turn somewhere around here. They use one of their activations to move, clunk, right there, and then their second activation later in the turn will be a close combat. Now, whenever you move and engage in a close combat attack in the same turn, that is considered a charge. That's going to give them +1 to their initiative roll, so we're going to put a little token there to remind us that they charged. And a couple things will happen because of that. Whenever heavy cavalry move into close combat, whether or not they even fight close combat, just the fact that they moved into an engagement like this, they do get what are called impact hits. Oh, that's right, I know, so unique. We'll have to come up with some more unique names for some of these attributes that are already out there in other games. But for now, it's impact hits. Not only do they get impact hits, but later when we actually start fighting in melee, they will get a +1 combat strength. Now, these impact hits do not benefit from that +1 combat strength, but we'll just put a little +1 attack token here just to remind us of that as well. Militia have no special abilities whatsoever. Okay, so let's go ahead and roll for those impact hits first. So these heavy cavalry roll 1d6. Oh my gosh, they're going to get 6 impact hits against these militia. That is not good. Because this could wipe them out right here and right now. 6 dice, and the militia's armor is only a 1, so they only need 2s or better. Well, there's 3 6s right there. There's a 4, a 3, and a 2. So all 6 of these dice hit. The militia do get to try to defend against this, but I mean, this is not going to be good. They do get a 6, and it looks like they block the rest of it because, we'll line them up. So equal or exceed the attacker's value is what you're looking for. So 4 will block a 4, 4 over a 3, 3 over a 2. We have a couple of 4s here, but these 2 6s, because we have a 6 blocked off there, these 2 6s are still going to get through. Now, unfortunately for militia, in the last video, if you saw that, I mentioned how health, most actual unit has 2 health. These militia only have a single health per figure. That's kind of justified by, these battle-hardened soldiers can maybe deal with combat wounds a little bit better. Maybe they're more hardy instead of, just dragged in off the street. Peasant militia. So that means those 2 hits are going to not just be 2 wounds, but since each figure only has a wound, that's actually 2 kills. So right off the bat there, that heavy cavalry is chopping away at these poor peasant militia. Alright, so now we can get rid of this charge token. Now we get into just the regular first round of combat. Each unit is going to roll 1d6 to figure out their initiative. So we're rolling these gold dice for the militia. We're rolling these red dice for the infantry. And because they did charge, they get +1 to their initiative. Now, heavy cavalry initiative is 4. Militia initiative is only a 1. So heavy cav, since they charge +1, so their initiative is a 5. And we add both of these up. So 5 plus 3 is 8. 5 plus 1 is only a 6. So yeah, you guessed it. The heavy cavalry are going to be striking first here. Hopefully the militia are still around to even do anything. But heavy cavalry have 3 attack dice per figure. They can only attack in the front rank, but 3 times 3 then is 9. So they're rolling 9 attack dice. Not only that, they're all +1. I know, this is not looking good, because they're all going to be guaranteed hits no matter what, since the militia only have an armor value of 1, so the heavy cavalry would only need 2s or better, and all of these are +1. So this one becomes a 2, this one becomes a 2. And then we have these 2s become 3s. 6s are going to remain 6s, but then these 4s become 5s, and that other 5 becomes a 6. All right, so there you have it. This is not looking good at all. The militia do get to roll 9 defense dice in defense because, yes, in this game you do get a die for defense per attack die that got through. Let's see, we're going to need a lot of 5s and 6s here. And it looks like we got a few. We might actually survive to the next round of combat because we do have a 6. And then we have a couple 5s here, a couple 4s. Actually, we have another 5 there. So again, you just line them up. This 2 will still block that 2. So they only actually take 2 wounds here, which is pretty good, but that does mean 2 dead militia. I actually tested this same matchup a couple times before. The first round of combat, the first time I tested it, I actually gave the militia each 2 wounds per person. So they actually were able to do a bit of damage since they lasted a lot longer against the heavy cavalry. But the second time I tested it, the militia never even got to strike. Heavy cavalry did impact hits and first strike and combat, and that was the end of the militia. Completely wiped out. At least in this case, the militia have a shot. The militia have 1 attack die per figure. There's only 2 figures left. The heavy cavalry have an armor of 3, which means on these 2 dice, we need 4s or better to do anything. So this 2 does nothing, but this 6 does get through. This is actually not bad for the militia. You know, you would like to have rolled, at least in this case, maybe a 5 and a 6 or something, but a 6 is the best chance you have on a single die to actually do something. So 1 defense die, this needs to be a 6 or the heavy cavalry take a wound. And it's a 4. That means before they meet their maker, this pathetic unit of militia did a single wound on the heavy cavalry, which each of these figures in heavy cavalry do have 2 wounds apiece. So, you know, the heavy cavalry, that unit costs 5 times more than the militia. Militia are basically designed to, you know, fill gaps. When you're constructing an army and you have a point left over, you can use it on a unit of militia. Militia can, you know, hold up a unit or, you know, charge into a unit of archers or something, because militia are actually not the worst close combat unit. They're close. They are damn close. But, you know, in this scenario, you're expecting a slaughter. Okay, so we actually are going on to a second round of combat here. So we are rolling for initiative. Now, the militia are panicked. They have 50% or less of their starting unit amount, how many soldiers there are in that unit. So because they're 50% or less, they are panicked, which means -1 to their initiative roll. So basically they have an initiative now of 0 because you can go negative. So whatever's on this die is going to be it. And then the heavy cavalry have 4. So 4 plus whatever this is. So the militia have a slim chance, but they could maybe go first. But not in this case, because 3 plus 0 is 3, 2 plus 4 is 6, so 6 to a 4 means heavy cavalry are going first. And folks, say goodbye. Well, I shouldn't say that. You never know. Militia could do something here defensively, but we're rolling 9 dice, and these are all +1. So that is going to be, that one's a 2, this one is a 2, this 3's a 4. These 4 4s are all 5s. And that's where we're going to have the issue as militia. And the 6s are still 6s. Okay. So 9 defense dice. And they have a shot here, but they can't take 2 wounds. They could let a single wound slip through and still remain among the living. We need a lot of 5s, and I'm not seeing it. So that's going to be it. This 6 blocks one of the 6s. This 5 does block a 5. This 4 blocks a 4. This 3 blocks one of the 2s. This 2 blocks the other 2. But they rolled 3 other 1s and a 2. So they still take 1, 2, 3, 4 wounds, and that is enough, even if these 2 had 2 wounds apiece, to eliminate that unit from the board without the chance of striking back. And then for their victory, immediately they get to reform and change their face should they choose. Let's just say, what would have happened if the militia somehow either got to strike first or somehow survived that, rolled really well defensively? They would have only rolled 2 dice, but could they have knocked out a single heavy cavalry? They need 4s or better, and they roll a 6 and a 4. That's not bad. Heavy cavalry don't have any defensive bonuses because their armor's so high, and look at that. They do block one of it, but not the other. So 1 wound would have still gotten through, which would have been enough in conjunction with the other wound that they had to have killed 1 heavy cavalry. So, you know, even a little unit of militia can still do something, but no, heavy cavalry reigns supreme. That was awesome. All right, well, because that didn't take too terribly long, maybe we can do one more in this video and see what the next matchup we want to do is. Let's do something with pole arms this time. Let's do a unit of crossbowmen versus a unit of halberdiers or spearmen. Let's do spears. And I only have 1 infantry standard bearer for each of them, so they have to share for right now. So we have a unit of crossbows versus a unit of spears. Now there's actually going to be a lot of abilities triggered here because we're going to do the same thing we did last time. We are going to move these into battle. So we'll scoot him back there. That is the crossbows. And then we will move the spears into close combat. Okay, so for this similar situation, spearmen can move 4 inches. So we would just see, you know, how far away are they? Okay, they're within 4. So we're moving into 4 inches. Now, as they move into close combat with a ranged unit, the ranged unit gets to what? Oh, that's right. Stand and shoot. Ranged units do get the front and rear rank. They only attack with a single die apiece, though. However, they are combat strength +1 for being the powerful crossbows that they are. Standing and shooting is normally a -1 penalty, and it still is, but the +1 and the -1 are going to cancel each other out. So the crossbowmen get 6 attacks, and we're going to do gold dice for the crossbows, red dice for the spearmen. This is like a free pre-combat attack. And the spearmen have armor 2, so they need 3s or better. So this 1 is going to get lost. But then we do have a damn fine attack here. We have 2 3s, a 4, 5, 6. Spearmen are going to be able to roll 5 defense dice against that. See how much of that they can negate. And they don't negate all of it because the 6 will cancel the 6. Oh, no. So it looks like they are going to take 2 wounds. Now, that's a big deal because that is a single spearman kill. 2 wounds apiece for the spearman. That is a spearman gone. And why is that a big deal? Because part of the spearman's stat profile here is they have pole arm, which would allow both the front rank and the rear rank to attack, which is unique for polearms in close combat. Now, polearm also gives them an automatic first strike in close combat for the first round of combat. You know, seeing them basically whether they were moved into or whether they did the moving, because they have those spears. So now, you know, that was movement phase. Now close combat phase, the spearmen are going to get to strike first no matter what, and they get 2 attack dice for each person in the front rank, 1 attack die for each person in the second rank. So that's going to be 2, 4, 6, 8 attack dice. The difference between them and Halberdiers is Halberdiers would get a +1 to their attack dice, but the spearmen do not. So whatever they roll here is what they roll, and that ends up being not bad. The crossbowmen only have an armor of 1, so that means the spearmen only needed 2s or better. So that 1 does miss, but then they have a 2, a 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 3 6s, which is pretty darn good. Okay, so then the crossbows will try to defend against that. They have 7 defensive dice to try to negate as much of this as they can. All right, so the 1 does nothing, but we do have a couple of 2s here. So 1, 2 will block 1, 2, but the other 2 also does nothing. So that's 2 hits no matter what. Here's a 4, here's a couple 6s, and here's a 5. So 2 unblocked attack dice means 1 dead crossbowman. So that crossbowman has been eliminated. All right, so then the crossbows do get to strike back in melee. Unfortunately, as good as they are in range, they are poor in close combat. So they have a -1 combat strength. They only get a single die, and they only are attacking with their front rank. So that's only 3 attack dice, and these are all -1. In fact, let's put a little -1 token there. I have custom tokens coming for this game also, which is going to make things so freaking awesome. Okay, so anyway, spearmen again have armor 2, so they need 3s or better, which all 3 of their hits do get through, so that is 2 3s and a 5. And then spearmen defense. Oh my gosh, look at that defense roll. Not a single wound. All right. So then, second round of combat, the automatically going first bonus the spearmen had initially is now gone. So now we are going to be rolling for initiative. Crossbowmen have initiative of 2. Spearmen have initiative of 4. So we'll roll off and see what we got. So 4 plus 2 is 6. I'm sorry, 4 plus 4 is 8. And then 2 plus 5 is 7. That was really close, but unfortunately, the spearmen, oh my gosh, now I'm doing all the wrong math. Spearmen have an initiative of 4 plus 2 is 6. Crossbowmen have initiative of 2 plus 5 is 7. The crossbows will actually get to go first here, which is probably good news for them because they, will be able to eliminate some of those spears, hopefully. Or maybe not. 2 1s do nothing, but they do have a single 6. Oh my gosh, which is blocked. The spears. Oh man. See, that's why I just love the randomness of dice, because even something like that, the spearmen, that could have been bad, but no, that's not. Okay, so anyway, the crossbows did nothing in melee. Oh shoot, you know what? That would have been a 5 anyway because of their -1 in melee. So either way, crossbows did nothing. All right, spearmen, though, get to strike back, and they still have all 8 potential shots here. Just needing 2s or better, so that 1 does nothing, but they do have a 2, 2 3s, a 4, 2 5s, and a 6. All right, so 7 defense dice are necessary here. 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's see how much of this we can negate for our dear friends, the crossbowmen. Oh, would you look at that? Look at all those 1s. Oh, that is pathetic. And this is going to be bad news for the crossbowmen. Okay, so the 2 blocks of 2, 5 blocks of 5, 6 blocks of 6, but 1, 2, 3, 4 wounds means the entire back row of crossbowmen are now eliminated. The crossbows, because they are at 50% or less of their, population, they are now panicked, and they have a -1 to their initiative. So they had an initiative of 1, now it's initiative of 2, now it's a 1. So next round of combat, the spearmen are looking good. Spearmen have 4, crossbowmen have 1. And yeah, clearly the spearmen are going first. So we will grab all 8 of their dice, just needing 2s or better. And we have 1 1. They always roll, it seems like, 1 single 1. But it seems like they're rolling on average less and less, because there's 2 2s, 2 3s, and a 4, and 2 5s. Okay, so this could be the opportunity for the crossbowmen. We just need to see them come back here and have a good defensive showing, and then strike out. And what do we have? Well, we have a 1, which means that is going to be a wound no matter what. Here's a 2. Oh no, here's a couple of 4s and a couple of 3s, but this other 3 doesn't do a damn thing. There's 2 more wounds, which means another darn crossbowman has been eliminated. And that now affects how many attack dice they get, because only 1 attack die per figure in the front rank. So this is literally, and they're striking back with 2 dice, needing 3s or better, and they have a -1 to a minimum of 1, so they basically roll double 1s. We move on to the next round of combat. Don't forget, crossbowmen are panicked, and the spearmen clearly there are going first again. Can the spearmen just... I was not expecting it to be this one-sided. Good God. But the spearmen right here could eliminate the crossbowmen entirely with the way they've been rolling. Oh my good Lord. Look at that. That's insane. Okay, so that 1, again, just 1 single 1 they roll. And then 4 6s, a 4, a 3, and a 2. Oh, folks, mercy. Is there a mercy rule in this game? That's insanity to think. Obviously, in this game, you'd have other units. If you are struggling, first of all, shame on you for allowing one of your ranged units to get charged. But also, even if you did kind of bait someone in like this, maybe you wanted to sacrifice a ranged unit, because of the advantage a spearman or something had, that you would obviously then take other units and clunk, clunk, in the rear or the flank or something and help them out here, but you can also break away. But of course, a breakaway in this game means the opposing unit or units, if there's more than one, get free attacks on you also. So that may not be a wise idea. But either way, let's see if the crossbowmen live to fight their round of combat, and it looks interesting. No, they are so nope, they're not looking too good here. So we have that, we have 2 4s and a 1 left over, so that's 3 wounds that are unblocked, which unfortunately does mean boom, he's dead. And then the final crossbowman does have a wound on him, so he actually will get to strike back here. 1 single die, needing a 3 or better, and it's a 1, and it would have been -1 anyway. That's just unfortunate, but all is not lost. Believe it or not, all is not lost, because we're rolling for initiative now, and the crossbowman could strike first. Can he really? Because he has initiative of 2 -1 because he's panicked. So he is now a 1 versus a spearman's 4. And again, the crossbowmen have been rolling so pathetically, just constantly. Oh, this is sad. This is so sad. The crossbowman only has a single wound left. And 3, 6, 7, 8. All right, 8 attack dice, and they're looking for 2s or better. A single 1. Again, just 1 single 1. Isn't that nuts? And look at these attack rolls. These spearmen have something against the crossbowmen. Good Lord, look at all those 6s. All right, so yeah. In order to remain alive, the crossbowman needs to do something here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 3, 7. So they need to block all 7 of this, which means triple 6s. If we don't have triple 6s, he's dead, and he is dead. Because there's a 6, there's a 5, there's a 5, there's a 3, there's actually another 5. But this 1 and this 3 are, unneeded. These 2 6s get through. So that means another dead crossbow. And that's the end of that. The spearmen could then reform. So we saw some pretty lopsided confrontations. Should we do one more? This is going to be a really long video if we do another one. But honestly, well, you never know. Let's do one more. Because after this, we saw 2 really lopsided ones. So let's see a more even one. What was the first one we did? We did axemen against swordsmen. Let's do halberdiers against light cavalry. Now that could be kind of lopsided as well, because halberdiers have a benefit against cavalry. Polearms in general have a benefit against cavalry, but light cavalry is not bad, as I've noticed on some of my other... I know they're the same heavy cavalry models we already use, but until we get our actual figures, this is the way we have to do things. Okay, so instead of heavy cavalry, we have light cavalry. Light cavalry have a parry ability. Now, nimble just means that they can move twice and then with a third action still fight. So that's pretty exciting. They do not get impact hits as the heavy cavalry did. So let's say they did this. Let's say they moved in. And let's not give them a charge bonus this time. In fact, well, it doesn't matter. Let's just say they didn't charge. We're just going to do it like this time. And a couple different abilities are going to go off here. And I just have these cards down below these units for my own reference because I'm still, working everything out here. Okay, so again, we're going to do gold for the unit on the left, red for the unit on the right. And then, let's say no one charged, we just moved into combat with each other. So during the close combat phase, we are going to roll an attack here, or a initiative roll off. Now, that's actually incorrect because polearm gets first strike on the first turn of combat. They also get armor piercing against cavalry. That's kind of why I wanted to do this. This would have been good against heavy cavalry and, negate their armor, but let's see how they do against light cavalry. Okay, so anyway, Halberdiers are going first, no matter what, because of their polearm ability. Now, Halberdiers get a +1. See, this is going to be really good because these units cost the same. So we'll see how this works. Now, cavalry against a polearm is not the best, but so the Halberdier gets, because they have polearm, they have 2 attacks each for their first rank and 1 attack for the rear rank, and they're going first. So that's 9 attacks. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. And these are all +1, and they're armor piercing against cavalry. So they only need 2s or better, because light cavalry only have an armor value of 2. So Halberdiers, these are all +1. They just need 2s or better, which means they're all going to hit, because, even if they roll a 1, it becomes a 2. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. These Halberdiers. Okay. Okay. So we have 3 6s, because we had rolled 2 natural 6s, then a 5 becomes a 6. These 2 4s both become 5s. This 3 becomes a 4. This 2 becomes a 3. And then finally these 2 1s become 2s. When lambs become lions, right? All right, that's 9 attack dice. Now, similar to the swordsmen, these light cavalry are able to parry. So we'll see what they do here first. How much of this they can defend against. Oh my gosh, look at that. That's absolutely insane. Look at all those 6s. Why was I worried? Okay, so but they did roll low on some other things. So they have 2 4s here and a 3. Now, these 2 1s, unfortunately, they have parry. They get to re-roll these, and if they're 6s, they get to block something else. No, so they do take 2 wounds, which is going to peel off 1 light cavalry. Okay. That was just the Halberdier's first strike there. Now, light cavalry get to strike back. I hope I've been using the right dice. So the red dice are the light cavalry dice. Okay, light cavalry get 2 dice apiece. They only get the front rank, so they're only rolling 6 dice here. Oh my gosh, look at that. Halberdiers have armor of 2, so light cavalry were looking for 3s or better. And my goodness, they rolled pretty darn well. So that's 3 4s, 2 5s, and a 6. And we'll see how much of this the Halberdiers can defend against. Halberdiers have no defensive special abilities. Oh my gosh. Well, that's at least 1 dead Halberdier. And because we have a 3 and 2 1s, which will block nothing. And then we have a 6, which will block a 6, and a 4 and a 4, which will block 2 of the 4s. That leaves 3 dice undefended against. So that is 1 dead Halberdier, as well as 1 wounded Halberdier. So we'll put a wound token on there as well. All right, so, I mean, that's pretty good, right? After one round of combat, it's pretty even. And I was worried there for a little bit, but, you know, well, it's definitely not over. So now we roll off for initiative. Halberdier initiative is 3. This is where Light Cavalry shines. They have the, I believe, the highest initiative of any core unit with a 5. So Halberdier 3, Light Cavalry 5. And even with a higher roll, 3 plus 3 is 6, but 2 plus 5 is 7. So Light Cavalry are going to get to strike first here. And this is fantastic because, you know, the more of these back rank guys you can peel off, the less attacks the Halberdiers will have. So 2, 4, 6 again. 6 attacks. Oops, I did not even roll that one. Oh my gosh, 2 6s, a 5, and a 3. Looking for 3s or better, so the 1 and the 2 did nothing. But then you have that, so 4 defense dice now rolling for the Halberdiers. And that is 2 wounds. 5 and a 6 will block 2 of those, so that's 2 wounds, which means, yep, that's right, 1 wound and another wound on that guy means he's dead. 2 wounds apiece, and that means 1 wound on the last remaining guy. So that peeled off a guy. So that means now in their strike back time, it's 2, 4, 6, 7. So they're only rolling 7 dice now, down from their 9 they were at earlier. However, don't feel sorry for these Halberdiers. They are armor piercing against cavalry, and they're +1 to combat strength. So all of these are +1, and thank gosh, because look how low they rolled. So these 2 1s will become 2s. This 2 will become a 3. These 2 3s will become 4s. And this 4 will become a 5, and the 5 will become a 6. So... And they only needed 2s or better thanks to their armor piercing. So that is their 7 strikes there. So 7 defensive dice. And don't forget, cavalry can parry. Or these light cavalry can anyway. Oh my gosh, thank goodness they have that ability. Because look at how poor they rolled in defense. So there's a 6. There's a 4. There's a 3. There's a couple 2s. Actually, it wasn't as bad as I thought. So they only have 2 potential wounds there, but they get to try to parry. Any 6s. Oh, they actually rolled a 6 with their parry. So that only means a single wound from the Halberdiers. So boom, there goes that. All right, so that was round 2 of combat. Halberdiers are down by a guy. So let's go ahead and roll off for initiative again. No initiative penalties yet. And 5 plus 3 is 8. 4 plus 5 is 9. So Light Cavalry get to strike 8 first. And see, that is the big deal about striking first, especially against pole arms. Because then you are peeling off that back rank, reducing their attacks. 6 attacks, needing 3s or better. That 1 does nothing. We have a couple 3s here, but more importantly, 2 5s and a 6, which is pretty nice. Okay, so we need 5 defense dice here to see how much of this can be saved. We'd like to save it all. Oh, yikes. Okay, that's not good because we saved 3 of it, but that's 2 wounds. So not only is another Halberdier dead, but 1 in the front rank is also now wounded. Okay, so Halberdiers, basically it's 2 dice on 2 dice now. However, the Halberdiers do get +1 again and armor piercing still. So I mean, they still have the benefit in terms of attacks. We're rolling 6 attack dice here. These are all +1. There we go. That's going to be 4 6s because these 2 5s become 6s. And then we also rolled 2 natural 6s. And then we have a 1 becomes a 2. And a 4 becomes a 5. So look at that. 1 5, 4 6s, and a little measly 2. All right, so Light Cavalry could, we'll see what happens here. 6 defense dice. How much of this can they save? Oh, yikes. Okay, so they do block a 5, they do block a 2, but they have 4 6s that could potentially get through here. Now their parry save on 6s, and they actually do save one of them, but 3 wounds still get through. What does that mean? Well, he takes a second wound, he's gone, and then 2 other wounds go on him. So again, here we go. That was pretty good. That was 3 wounds. And now look at where we're at. I mean, these units cost the same. So I'm loving what I'm seeing here in terms of the balance. Even though one is, one has pole arm, which is good against cavalry, but the light cavalry have that higher initiative and the ability to parry. So it kind of balances out nicely. Okay, so initiative roll-off time. We would be panicked because both units are at 50% or less, but because no one has fewer. So for example, if the light cav still had a unit back there, the Halberdiers would be panicked. But right now, no one's panicked because they're both at 50% or less. Okay, so 3 for the Halberdiers, 5. Okay, so look at that. It was tied, but of course the Light Cavalry have 5, so that's an 11 versus a 9. So once again, the Light Cavalry will be striking first with 6 dice. I mean, it should be, by the math at this point, a wash in terms of, or it should be, by the math, the Halberdiers should take this home, because right now they're both rolling 6 dice apiece. Well, I guess not necessarily, because the Light Cavalry do have parry. But the Halberdiers have armor piercing and +1 combat strength. Okay, so anyway, enough talk. 6, okay, so no, yeah. 6 dice for the Light Cavalry. Wounding on 3s or better. Uh-oh. Half of those get knocked out. They do have 2 4s and a 6, though. Let's see how much of that the Halberdiers can save. Oh my gosh, look at that. They take 3 wounds. This is it for the Halberdiers. That was just terrible. So that means 1 wound for him, 2 wounds kills him. So that means they're down to their standard bearer and they're only rolling 2 dice now. Yikes. Let's make it count. These are both +1. So that is a 5 and a 6. That's pretty damn good for only rolling 2 dice. Light Cavalry can parry, but they don't need to because they got their defense roll. Oh no, the Halberdiers did nothing. They were hoping to at least, do 2 wounds there and take out one of those cavalry, because now it's not looking good. All right, initiative roll-off. Halberdiers are absolutely panicked now, so that is going to be what? So they have initiative 3, so now they're initiative 2 against initiative 5. Oh my gosh. Whoops. So let's count that. 3 + 5 is 8. So basically, Halberdiers, if they roll a 6, they'll tie them, and then the attacks will be simultaneous. And they do not. So the Light Cavalry will strike first with 6 dice. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Needing 3s or better. And oh my gosh, all but 1. And we have a couple of 6s in there too. A couple 6s, couple 4s, and a 3. They don't need to save this all, but they do need to save at least 4 of it. And they don't. Unfortunately, that is the end of the Halberdiers. They have 2 5s and a 4, but these 2 2s do nothing. These 2 6s get through. 2 wounds kills the last Halberdier. And these Light Cavalry now get to reform. And my God, that just shows you the luck of the dice. You'd think with all the advantages that the Halberdiers had, getting armor piercing to reduce the light cavalry's armor, getting to strike first, that first round of combat, getting +1 combat strength. The only advantage the light cavalry had was that parry save, which they made a couple parry saves, but my God, it boiled down to who rolled better in that instance. All right, folks, thank you all so much for watching. This has been another Battlefields of Mana combat test, and until next time.